What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Zeal Cigar review. And Father's Day is right around the corner. And somebody has asked me recently about doing like a video about special occasions. What's some good special occasions for a cigar to be smoked? I would say Father's Day is a really good occasion to smoke a cigar. I'm going to do that video later on this week. But Father's Day came to mind with it being so close this weekend. In the spirit of Father's Day, it made me think about smoking a My Father cigar. So I grabbed this here Flor de las Antilles. And, you know, instead of me telling you guys about this cigar and how good it is, because it is a very good cigar, a little bit of that My Father spice, super smooth, great flavor, really good cigar. But again, instead of hearing me tell you guys about it, I'm just gonna do a rerun of 2 years ago when Brad and the Devil Doc, his dad himself, did a review on the My Father Flor de las Antilles and the Fonseca. And you know, I know we all miss him. I know you guys miss him, and I hope you guys enjoy this reroll.
Hey guys, welcome back again to a Zeal Cigar review. I'm here with my dad, the Devil Doc, Len Reith, and we're talking about the dark, awesome, fun origins of Father's Day. All next on the Zeal Cigar review. Well, believe it or not, the origins of Father's Day aren't dark whatsoever. No matter what people will tell you in the media about toxic masculinity and things like that, dads, there's over 70 million dads in America today. 70 million. You're a dad. You're my dad, obviously. Yep. And I'm a dad.
I'm proud.
And thank you, Dad. Thank you, Pop. Thanks, Dad. But
not that proud.
But I have 3 children of my own. I have my oldest daughter, Savannah, just moved to Knoxville, Tennessee. My son, Camden, who's 18, just graduated high school. And my daughter, Madeline, who's 17, will be a senior next year in high school. So
right.
I'm a
and
dad.
I've had 3.
And you've had 3. And so I'm one of 3. I'm the firstborn.
Right.
I'm the firstborn.
And so actually 2 of my 3 are right in here right now.
Exactly.
And Carrie, as you know, Carrie is right over here.
Exactly.
Bradley.
Yep.
And we will be in Ohio on Monday, where our other daughter, his sister,
Chrissy lives. And so we want to talk about Father's Day. We want to smoke some great cigars talking about Father's Day and the origins of Father's Day, in case you didn't know, which I didn't know until I started doing the research on it. But we're talking about My Father's cigars today. So I thought it'd be cool to smoke My Father's cigars. Not only are they incredible cigars, they're very apt for the conversation today. So I'm smoking the My Father Fonseca, which is a great cigar. It got my top cigar of the year a couple years ago. And you're smoking the Flor de
Antilles. The flower of the Antilles.
The flower of the Antilles.
I can't speak that.
Yeah, I think they call it FDLR or something like that.
Yes. One of my favorite cigars, a golfing buddy of mine gave me one of these probably 8 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's an incredible cigar. So we're gonna light these up, and we're gonna tell you a little bit about the origins of Father's Day and some pretty big important lessons that we've learned as being dads. So if you got your dad around, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Well, in case you...
I know. Okay, I'm thinking about Savannah.
She's doing great.
So I know all that. I just miss her. So if you're a dad or you got your dad around, grab him, light up a stick, and join us as we discover the origins of Father's Day. But first, in order to try these cigars, you know what we got to do? We got to cut, light, and smoke. Have you had that? You've had the cigar before, obviously, Dad.
This one? Many times.
I haven't had this in a hot minute, and I'm really looking forward to it because it's one of the best cigars I've had that's just a great value. I really enjoyed the cigar when I smoked it. It had this my father does something really special with their cigars, with this unique spice that I think is just absolutely incredible.
There's been no other cigar that tastes like a My Father cigar.
Right,
None.
right.
I've never tasted anything like it.
So if you're wondering about the origins of Father's Day, you might be surprised to find out that Father's Day was actually started by a woman.
It was.
It was. Her name was Sonora Smart Dodd, and she started Father's Day in honor of her dad, who was a Civil War veteran who raised their 5 siblings after her mother died in childbirth. And she was sitting in church one week listening to a Mother's Day sermon. Later on, Lyndon B. Johnson actually signed into honoring all dads on the 3rd Sunday of June in 1966.
Zona 166.
Yeah, 1966. 1966. So what's fascinating about this? Sooner or later, it became commercialized and everything like that. Merchants, retailers, and everybody like that started to commercialize the Father's Day.
I thought Hallmark invented it.
Right, I did too. And I thought Mother's Day was the same way. Mother's Day has an interesting story too. But when it comes to dads, particularly dads that smoke cigars and everything else like that, I think it's really cool. It's one of the most bonding things that we've done over the years is smoke cigars, and so I think
we've done it on many Father's Days.
Yes, like sitting out on the front porch
when you were up in Columbus and we were down in Cincinnati, 100 miles away, and we'd always get together on Father's Day. Come down, we'd grill out, burn some hamburgers and drink some beer and smoke some cigars.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the great things to do. And so if you're looking for the origins of Father's Day, you can look no further than back in 1966 when it was actually originated. Now, when it comes to being a dad today, there are so many different challenges, even in our culture. I mean, our culture, quite frankly, dads have a hard job. They really do. It's harder to make a living. It's harder to raise a family. It's harder to keep your kids safe and everything else like that than it probably ever has been in history. But there's been a few things that you can do as a dad, things that we want to tell you, to really enjoy your life as a dad. And so we want to give you a few tips from both my dad and myself that we think will help the young fathers out there and the fathers who are older, like myself, or the fathers who are actually already granddads, okay,
soon to be a great granddad.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to give you some tips, and so we'll start out with just 5 tips that we think are necessary for every father. So what's one of the biggest lessons you learned, Dad? So you start us out with number 1. What's one of the biggest lessons you learned as a father to tell the young guys out there that are soon to be dads or
well,
dads?
I'll tell you, it's interesting because one of the things I was thinking about this morning, we were talking about what the topic and stuff we were going to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I think probably encouragement is probably right up there. Mm. And it may not, of course, that's obviously behind love. Mm-hmm. But I think you've got to be able to encourage your kids. Mm-hmm. I've always, I've hoped that I've encouraged you guys.
100%.
And don't hesitate to tell them how proud you are of them.
Yeah.
A lot of, they get all the negative stuff everywhere else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just, you might as well just tell them how much you love them and how proud you are of them.
In fact, the word encourage means to install courage into. It literally does. So if you want to make your kids courageous in life, encourage them. And in fact,
oh yeah, here we go again. You'll be all right.
I could not have done what I've done in life without my father and my mom and my family behind me, 100%. Just to reality. And I know big baby crying on camera and stuff like that. But if you really want your kids to succeed, then encourage them, because it will do more things, help them climb bigger mountains, help them get out of deeper valleys than you will ever imagine. And a lot of times kids get in those valleys and they don't understand what it means to be on those mountains because they weren't encouraged. By God's grace, I've had incredible parents that have, without like even knowing that they're encouraging, just always spoke encouragement over us. They really did. So speak encouragement over your kids. It really matters. Enough with the tears. Let's move on. Number 2. Sorry for the tears, but big point for me. Number 2, I would say, is be incredibly patient. Be incredibly patient. It takes a lot of patience as a parent. Particularly, I'm a parent of teenagers in particular, and so when they're younger, you gotta have patience because they do stuff like poop their diapers and they cry and they scream incessantly about stuff. When they become teenagers, there's a certain amount of patience that you need because their lives are becoming more private, and all you want to do, if you're a good dad, you kind of want to know and be involved in all their lives, and sometimes they just want some privacy, and you have to be patient with that. So
you have to know when to back off.
Right. Yeah. And that's really difficult because you're used to providing and protecting and doing all these things, but giving your kids some space as they grow and as they flourish is very, very important. So as a dad, that's one of those key lessons I'm learning right now with my kids. They're all like older. So they're all like 17 plus, all the way up to 21. And they're young adults. They're young adults essentially. And so they have their own lives, their own girlfriends, their own husbands and everything else like that. And so as a result, that's their own life, and dad can't rescue them as easily. Dad can't do that, and I have to let them. My wife said this the other day. Jamie said this. Savannah needed something, and so I literally said, well, let's go buy it. Let's go get it for her. Let's take care of it. She goes, no, let her do this. Let them do this. This is their thing. Let them grow. Because as a dad, you always want to just provide for.
You want to provide and protect.
Exactly. I always tell this my dad, just kind of a side note. My dad, if you ask him for anything, nope, you should earn it, go get it yourself. But if you never ask for anything, he'll give you the shirt off your bag. What do you need? Here's the shirt. Here's the shirt. What do you need? Here's my car keys. It doesn't matter. That's kind of what dad is. And so I've adopted that with my kids. Like
vacations.
Yeah. Oh, vacations. It was great, though. Vacations. Dad was an ATM.
I got to tell you this. Starting about 6 months before vacation, these guys were little. I don't mean little, but I mean, preteen age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not it. About 6 months before vacation, I said, we're going to be going down to the Outer Banks or wherever we're going, Michigan, wherever we're going. And you want money to spend on your vacation, start earning it now. If you haven't saved any money to this time, start now. Okay? And so that lasted about 2 weeks. I'd give them little jobs to do, and they'd put the money away and all this kind of stuff. Come time for vacation, some put the money in the jar and took it out the next minute. And but when we got on vacation, and the kids will all talk about this all the time, I was like a bank.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was the tightest guy. I mean, I really was. I wouldn't give them squat. But when it came to vacation, it was like I couldn't throw 20s out enough.
It was great.
We didn't have it.
Great.
We didn't have it.
It was
But
great.
I was
Awesome.
It was. Vacation dad was awesome, Gary. Just
vacation day.
that was
Well, I
great.
just throw the money around, and then
Oh, so
and
great.
2 weeks later, I'm back to tight dad again.
Oh yeah. It was absolutely.
But it was they remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just get out of character once in a while. It's not bad.
What's the third thing? Third advice you give dads out there?
Well, other than just love your kids and encourage them, listen. Listen to them. You don't have all the answers either.
Yeah.
Even though they think they have all the answers, they may have some that you don't know about.
Oh yeah.
Because they're looking at the world from a completely different perspective than you are.
Yeah.
And I am too. I mean, there's a big difference in my grandkids. My youngest grandchild is 9. Okay, and we're soon to be great grandparents.
Yeah.
Those perspectives of this world are completely different than mine. And if I can bring something to her or to you guys or something like that, equally you can bring stuff that I don't recognize or that I don't see from those kind of eyes. And that enriches both people. It teaches something. I want to be able to learn something every day. Okay? And there's some days I don't learn anything, but there's days that I learn a lot. And it's usually from listening to you listen to your kids.
Yeah.
They'll tell you what's going on. And a lot of times, even if they don't say something, you can see in their eyes what's going on. And then just ask them, and then they'll tell you, and listen. Be quiet. Let them talk.
There's been more times, particularly as they grow and as they're older, that you listen more. I think that I remember so I was a pastor for about 20 years before I ever did this, and so the very first sermon.
That's enough. You don't need to talk.
I know. So the very first sermon I ever did was a sermon called "Faith Like a Child," and I'll never forget. I just in the midst of doing the research on that, where Jesus actually says, unless you change and become like little children, you'll never enter the kingdom of heaven. And I went deep into that, and I was trying to figure out what that meant during the sermon prep. And there's just something about children, like it's like so my fourth point, dovetailing off what you said, listening to your kids, is I would say celebrate with your kids. Like, let their joy be your joy too. Like, let the things that they like, even the crazy little things. Like, I'll give you an example. I was never really a big video gamer whatsoever or anything like that. So, but during COVID, we were locked down for 2 years. My son played Call of Duty, which Warzone, if you guys know what that is. And he was just in his room all the time. I tried to pull him out. And he's just sucked in there. And so I literally bought an Xbox for myself, hooked it up to the other TV, and networked the two Xboxes. Said, let's play together. And he's like, and I remember thinking, and he killed me, and I still don't know how to play all that well, but I'll never forget like that being such a big jump for him. And he just celebrated, he would just kill me in a little Call of Duty game, and he would just celebrate. And I'd be like, oh, dude, way good job. So there's multiple ways to connect with your kids and to celebrate with them, and celebrate when they're celebrating. When they're celebrating something that's fun, and you remember, it kind of makes you remember when you were a kid and when you did little things. And I see my son do little things that I did when I was a kid, and get everything from frustrated.
You set the dining room on fire yet?
No, he didn't yet. Yeah. But I mean, that car stuff where things break down and things like that, and having to call dad and all that good stuff. I think that those moments where you celebrate little things you do. My son just graduated. I was so celebrating what he did and how he accomplished that, because my son does something that I've never seen before. I can't do. I don't know that my dad does. He takes a lot after my dad, so I don't know who this is. But my son can bootstrap anything so well, like can just pull himself out of. So my son throughout high school would literally do really, really well, then drop off, not doing homework or anything else like that. And we get a progress report. I'm like, son, you need time to pick it up. And he's like, okay. And his grades would go right back up to ace. And then he'd do the same thing again. And then after like his freshman, sophomore year, he would go, Dad, I got this. Don't worry about it. I'll do it. And so he would go through this whole thing all his life. And every time he brought himself back up and he did a great job in his grades, I would just celebrate that with him. Like, dude, way to go. I can't believe you did that. That's so amazing. And just the little things that they're interested, celebrate those, even if you're not interested in it, because there's just certain things I'm not interested in that he's really interested in. Go into that with him and celebrate those interests with him, because you'd be surprised how much that'll draw you guys together and how much they'll really, really enjoy it. This is something that interests my dad and I. You never really smoked. I smoked cigars before you did.
Yeah,
I smoked cigars.
You got me interested in
yeah,
this.
And then this
that was probably 25 years ago.
It was, and so that was a real bonding thing for both of us. So I was like, this is great. This is something my dad and I can do together on the back porch, on the front porch, in rain, in snow, in weather.
And we've done it.
Yeah,
all.
And we have. So I'm just saying that go in there with your kids and celebrate your kids, because you never know when. There's never a bad time to celebrate your children.
Yeah. You remember when we were sitting out on the back deck and it was about 5 degrees above zero? We cleaned off the snow underneath the patio heater.
Yep.
And we huddled under the patio heater.
We had cigars.
With cigars and a little bit of bourbon.
Yeah.
And we were this close. The patio heater's up here.
Yep.
And it's
snowing.
So cold.
It was snowing. It was snowing. Yeah.
But we can't smoke in the house.
Right.
But we went, and we were cold. Oh my God,
it was really cold. It was really cold.
But it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. And you create those kind of memories with your kids that are just so much fun. I love the memories that we've created around cigars. I mean, we like cigars as much as a family. We got into it as a family. And so Dad and I and other people in our family that smoke cigars and really do enjoy it, we got into it as a family. So Zeal Cigars genuinely is a family business. Yes. It's not a corporate business. It's not something that we have a corporate entity hovering around us or anything like that. This is all us. This is everything you see here. This is real. This is genuine. This is my dad. He's raised me. It's true. It really isn't. This isn't somebody that doesn't know me. He knows me inside and out.
And our boss is right over there.
Right. My mom's behind the camera looking at us, thinking that we're taking too much time with the video, so we'll move on. Well, what's a final thought that we can give people on Father's Day? When you're celebrating Father's Day, one more thing that we can give to people as kind of a nugget of truth, as a dad.
Love their mother.
Oh, okay. All right. Here's where the tears go. All right. Yeah. Dude. Okay, so I'm going to say something that's going to be very controversial. But
in some instances, that's not possible.
Well,
because I mean,
single dads or
divorce for whatever reason, that's not possible.
But if you're with their mother, love them. So let me just say this. So this is going to be very controversial because you're a dad and because you love your kids. But I'm telling you this much, men: if you love their mother first, the example that you set for your children, will echo into the chamber of their life so strongly. My dad's been married to Mom how many years?
It'll be 50 years next month.
50 years next month. I will be married to my wife 27 years this August. So give me an example. I think it was the day before our wedding. No, it was the day before our wedding. We just got done. Remember the story? Just got done with our reception, our wedding. What was it called? The rehearsal dinner. And so I was like, "What am I doing? I can't believe this." And I'll tell you what, mom and dad, like any marriage, have up and downs and everything like that. But one thing my dad did better than I've ever seen any man do is love my mom, and my mom put up with my dad. So, but I mean, it's incredible how he's loving her.
Is she laughing?
But it's absolutely amazing, and they still love each other to this day and everything. So one of my favorite pictures is a picture of you walking with Mom, holding hands. You still hold hands. You still kiss Mom. You still lovey-dovey with Mom. I love that kind of stuff. So I came downstairs, and you were in your office. We had like a tri-level back in Ohio, and
an office and a workshop.
Yeah, you had the workshop out front, the office was in the back, and I went into your office, and I broke down, and I was like, Dad, I don't know what I'm doing. I gotta get married tomorrow. I don't know how to be married. I don't know how to be a husband. And my dad pulled out a toolbox, and he said, you've seen how I love your mother, and you will absolutely be fine. You don't worry about it. These tools represent the things that you've seen me love your mother with. And it gave me a full toolbox with all tools and stuff I could use for my new life and everything like that. And it was so meaningful for me. I was like, this is incredible. And Dad does that. It has taught me through thick and thin to love my wife. That example helps me love my kids more effectively, more efficiently, and more purposefully than I ever have in my life. Each of my kids. I mean, if I really feel strong in saying this. If any of them were on camera and they asked, and you asked them, does your dad love you? Does your dad care for you? I feel very strong. If any of them were here, they would say the same thing. Yes, and they would tell you examples how, and some of those examples are how they loved his mother, how he's protected, provided, and everything else for their mother. 27 years now, and I learned that from this guy right here. That's a big thing, and I know it's controversial to say that and everything like that, but I am telling you men out there that you love their mom. It will obviously trickle down into the love for them so much. It's one of the best things that you can show a young man or a young woman is how much you love their mother. That's a huge thing. It really is. So I want to encourage you guys out there today for the Father's Day. We get to the cigars. They're good cigars.
These are great cigars.
They're great cigars.
These are really good. And my father is Fonseca. As well as other
great
variations of the cigar.
Fordella Antilles.
Yes, and the whole My Father line has got an incredible spice. It's a great cigar.
These are great cigars. So, what are some of you guys' thoughts according to the video? Drop them down in the comment section below. Maybe you guys have some tips for dads out there. Drop them down there below. Thank you so much for watching the Zeal Cigar Review with my dad, the Devil Doc Lynn Reeve. And with that said, guys,
Happy Father's Day.
And with that said, Happy Father's Day. We'll see you next time. Bye.